Now let's begin. Ryan Solomon had built his life on precision. As a forensic accountant who'd helped the FBI untangle some of the most complex financial crimes, he understood patterns, anomalies, and the importance of documentation. But nothing in his career prepared him for the night. He reviewed his home security footage and saw his father-in-law, Wayne Hastings, entering his 7-year-old daughter Charlotte's room at 3:47 a.m. Ryan sat frozen in his home office, the timestamp glowing on his monitor. Wayne moved through the darkened hallway with the ease of someone who'd made this journey before, opening Charlotte's door and slipping inside. The camera angle didn't show what happened next, but Wayne didn't emerge for 43 minutes. Ryan's hand trembled as he reached for his phone, Michelle's contact photo staring back at him. His wife was downstairs preparing breakfast, her father having stayed over after their dinner party. Ryan's finger hovered over the call button, then stopped. His training kicked in. One piece of evidence could be explained away. Lawyers, and Wayne could afford the best, would create reasonable doubt. A concerned grandfather checking on his granddaughter. Sleepwalking. A dozen excuses that would make Ryan look paranoid, damage his marriage, and let a predator escape. No, he needed more. Undeniable proof. Ryan spent the next day installing additional cameras. Pinhole lenses disguised in smoke detectors, a motion-activated system in Charlotte's room that captured from multiple angles. He used equipment he'd learned about during financial surveillance cases, the kind that captured everything in high definition with perfect audio. That night, when Michelle suggested her father stay through the weekend to help with Charlotte's birthday party, Ryan agreed with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "That'd be great," he said, watching Wayne across the dinner table. The older man smiled back, silver-haired and distinguished, wearing the affable mask Ryan now recognized as camouflage. Wayne Hastings, decorated police chief turned private security consultant, pillar of the community. Michelle worshipped him. Everyone did. The first 2 nights yielded nothing. Wayne stayed in the guest room, and Ryan began to doubt what he'd seen. Maybe he'd misinterpreted. Night 3, 2:34 a.m. Ryan's phone buzzed with a motion alert from Charlotte's room. Wayne appeared in the hallway. Ryan's chest constricted as he watched his father-in-law pause outside Charlotte's door, looking both ways before entering. Ryan activated the playback from inside Charlotte's room, his other hand gripping the desk edge so hard his knuckles whitened. Wayne approached the bed, and Ryan saw his daughter stir. Then Wayne's hand reached out. Ryan killed the feed. He'd seen enough. His body shook with rage, so visceral, he thought he might be sick, but his mind worked with crystalline clarity. He opened a new document and began typing, logging every timestamp, every movement, every second of footage. He backed up the files to 3 separate encrypted drives, sent copies to his attorney with strict instructions. But legal consequences weren't enough. Wayne had connections throughout law enforcement, judges who owed him favors, and enough money to make problems disappear. Ryan had seen it happen in his own cases, powerful men who navigated the system's loopholes. No, Wayne Hastings needed to understand what it felt like to be powerless, trapped, and violated. Ryan spent night planning. He cross-referenced Wayne's schedule against financial records he'd been quietly accessing. His father-in-law ran a private security firm, Hastings Solutions, that contracted with corporations and wealthy individuals. But the company's books showed irregularities Ryan's trained eye immediately flagged. Payments to offshore accounts, invoices for services never rendered. Wayne wasn't just a predator. He was running a sophisticated blackmail operation. The pattern emerged as Ryan dug deeper. Wayne's security firm had access to his clients' most private information, their homes, their habits, their secrets. And Wayne had been systematically collecting compromat, insurance policies against exposure. The offshore accounts received payments from a dozen prominent figures, all clients whose homes Wayne had surveilled. Ryan felt a grim smile form. Wayne had built his own trap. He just didn't know it yet. On the 5th night, Ryan waited. The motion alert came at 3:15 a.m. Ryan watched Wayne enter Charlotte's room, then grabbed the Glock from his desk drawer and moved silently through the house. Every instinct screamed to kick down that door and put a bullet in Wayne's skull. But Ryan had a better plan. He opened Charlotte's door just as Wayne turned, his face showing naked panic before sliding into a smile. "Ryan, I heard Charlotte call out. Nightmare, I think. Step away from my daughter." Ryan's voice was death itself. Wayne's eyes flicked to the gun, calculating. Son, I don't know what you think. The cameras caught everything. Every night. Every goddamn second. Ryan kept the weapon trained on Wayne's center mass. Move into the hallway. Now. Wayne's expression shifted, the mask cracking. Ryan saw the real man beneath. Cold, predatory, evaluating his options. You're making a mistake, Wayne said quietly. Do you know who I am? What I can. I know exactly who you are. I know about the offshore accounts. The blackmail. Your entire operation. Ryan gestured with the gun. Hallway. Charlotte doesn't need to see this. Wayne moved, and Ryan followed, pulling the bedroom door shut behind him. Charlotte slept on, undisturbed. In the hallway, Wayne straightened to his full height. If you had real evidence, you'd have called the police. But you haven't. Because you know what happens next. My lawyers bury you, your career ends, and Michelle chooses her father over a paranoid husband. I've seen it play out 100 times. Ryan's smile was razor sharp. I didn't call the police because I'm not interested in a trial. I'm interested in destroying you completely. With what? Doctored footage? Good luck proving. I'm not proving anything in court, Ryan interrupted. I'm sending your blackmail files to every victim, every law enforcement agency, and every media outlet in the state. Your entire client list, your offshore accounts, your surveillance network, all of it. By tomorrow morning, you'll be facing federal charges that even your connections can't fix. Wayne's face paled. You're bluffing. You don't have access. I'm a forensic accountant who works with the FBI. Your encryption was good, but not good enough. Ryan pulled out his phone with his free hand, thumb hovering over a messaging app. One button, Wayne. That's all it takes to send your entire life to hell. Wait. Wayne's composure cracked further. We can. There's no need to be rash. Whatever you want. What I want is for you to disappear from Charlotte's life forever. From Michelle's life. From mine. Ryan's voice hardened. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go downstairs, pack your things, and leave. You'll tell Michelle you have an emergency with a client. Tomorrow, you'll check yourself into a psychiatric facility. I've already chosen one, Oak Ridge in Montana, far from here. You'll sign yourself in for a minimum 6-month evaluation. You can't make me. Option 2. I press this button and you face federal blackmail charges, plus what I documented in Charlotte's room. The footage goes to the FBI, the state police, and every news organization. Your face becomes synonymous with predator. Ryan leaned closer. Option 3. I put a bullet in your skull and claim self-defense. Former cop breaks into my home at 3 a.m., threatens my family. I'm sure my lawyers could sell that story. Wayne stared at him, recognition dawning that Ryan wasn't bluffing. The facility, Wayne said hoarsely. You'll sign a full confession of what you did to Charlotte. It goes in a sealed envelope with my attorney. You stay away from my family, you get treatment, and maybe, you live out your remaining years in quiet obscurity. You violate any part of this agreement, and everything goes public plus the confession lands on the prosecutor's desk. Ryan pulled out a pre-written document. Sign. Wayne's hand shook as he scrawled his signature. Ryan photographed it, sent it to his attorney with a timestamp. Now get out of my house. Wayne descended the stairs like a broken man. Ryan followed at a distance, weapon concealed but ready. He watched his father-in-law pack his overnight bag, moving mechanically. Michelle appeared in her robe, concerned. Dad? Is everything okay? Client emergency. Wayne mumbled, unable to meet her eyes. I need to. I have to go. At 4 a.m. It's important. Wayne kissed her forehead, the gesture making Ryan's trigger finger itch. I love you, sweetheart. I'm sorry. He was gone before Michelle could respond. She turned to Ryan, confused. What just happened? Ryan pulled her close. We need to talk. But first, let's check on Charlotte. Their daughter slept peacefully, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Ryan gently brushed hair from her forehead, making a silent vow. She'd need therapy, eventually. When she was older, when she could process it. But she was safe now. That was what mattered. In their bedroom, Ryan told Michelle everything. She didn't believe him at first. Her father, her hero, couldn't be what Ryan described. But he showed her the footage, just enough to prove his point without traumatizing her. Michelle's world shattered. She wept against Ryan's chest, years of trust disintegrating. Why didn't you tell me immediately? Because I needed to make sure he couldn't hurt her again. Couldn't hurt anyone again. Ryan held her tighter. And because I knew how much this would destroy you. I'm sorry. Don't apologize for protecting our daughter. Michelle's tears soaked his shirt. What happens now? Now he gets help, whether he deserves it or not. And if he ever comes near Charlotte again. Ryan didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. 3 days later, Ryan received confirmation that Wayne had checked into Oak Ridge Behavioral Health Center in Montana, signing himself in for extended treatment. The facility specialized in treating sexual disorders and had strict protocols. Wayne wouldn't be leaving anytime soon. Ryan also received something else, a package from an anonymous sender containing a USB drive. On it were files Wayne had kept as insurance, evidence of corruption throughout the police department Wayne had once led, judges on the take, evidence of crimes swept under the rug. Someone else had known about Wayne's insurance files. Someone who wanted them in the right hands. Ryan spent the next week reviewing the contents, then made copies. One went to the FBI field office, another to a journalist he trusted. The third stayed in his safe. The arrest started 2 weeks later. A police chief, 3 judges, a county prosecutor, all connected to cases Wayne had influenced, all complicit in covering up crimes ranging from domestic violence to child exploitation. The dominoes fell exactly as Ryan had planned. Michelle filed for divorce from her father, a symbolic gesture but an important one. She started therapy, processing the betrayal. Charlotte began play therapy, though Ryan and Michelle decided to wait until she was older to explain fully what had happened. For now, she knew only that Grandpa Wayne was sick and getting help far away. Ryan returned to his work with renewed purpose. Every case he worked now carried the weight of what he'd learned. That monsters wore respectable faces, that justice required more than just legal processes, that protecting the innocent sometimes meant becoming something harder and colder than you'd ever imagined. His phone buzzed one evening. Unknown number. Ryan answered cautiously. Mr. Solomon? A woman's voice, professional. This is Dr. Catherine Pierce from Oak Ridge. I'm calling about Wayne Hastings. Ryan's blood chilled. Has he left? No. Well, that's why I'm calling. Mr. Hastings has made significant progress in treatment. He's asked to speak with you. Absolutely not. I understand your reaction. However, part of the therapeutic process involves accountability. He's written a letter, addressed to you and your wife. We can send it if you're willing to. Burn it, Ryan said flatly. Whatever closure he's looking for, he doesn't get it from us. He stays in that facility for the full 6 months minimum. Then he can disappear into whatever hole he crawls into. He doesn't get forgiveness. He doesn't get peace. A pause. I understand, Mr. Solomon. For what it's worth, the work he's doing here, it's real. He's confronting what he's done. Good. He can confront it for the rest of his miserable life. Ryan ended the call. But the call disturbed him. Wayne was playing an angle. He always was. Ryan made a note to check in with the facility monthly, ensuring Wayne remained exactly where he belonged. 2 months later, the sealed confession Ryan had extracted sat in his attorney's vault, insurance against any future threat. The blackmail evidence had led to 17 additional arrests. Wayne's security firm had been dissolved, its assets seized in the federal investigation. Ryan had dismantled his father-in-law's entire world systematically and completely. Charlotte thrived. She laughed more, played freely, showed no signs of the trauma she'd narrowly escaped. Michelle gradually healed, building new relationships with her mother, who'd divorced Wayne immediately upon learning the truth, and focusing on their family. On Charlotte's 8th birthday, Ryan watched her blow out candles surrounded by friends, Michelle's arm around his waist. His daughter made a wish, eyes squeezed shut, believing in magic and happy endings. Ryan knew the truth was more complicated. But he also knew he'd do it again. The investigation, the confrontation, the systematic destruction of a predator's life. Every single part of it. Because some things were worth becoming harder for. Some people were worth protecting at any cost. His phone buzzed. Another message from his attorney. Hastings requesting early release. Medical reasons. What do you want me to do? Ryan typed back quickly. Review medical claims thoroughly. If legitimate illness, he can suffer through it at Oak Ridge. If fabricated, remind him what happens if he violates our agreement. The response came within minutes. Understood. The confession stays sealed as long as he complies. Ryan slipped the phone away and returned his attention to his daughter's party, to the normal, safe life he'd fought to preserve. Wayne Hastings had made a critical error. He'd targeted Ryan Solomon's family, never realizing he was dealing with someone who understood exactly how to take apart a life piece by piece. using the same methodical precision that made Ryan excellent at his job. The predator had finally met someone more dangerous than himself, a father who would burn the world down to keep his daughter safe. And Ryan had barely begun, because 3 months into Wayne's treatment, Ryan received another anonymous message. This one contained names of other victims, other families Wayne had targeted before Charlotte. The message included a single question: "What are you going to do about it?" Ryan stared at the screen, his reflection ghostly in the dark glass. He knew exactly what he was going to do. The story was far from over. 6 months after Wayne Hastings entered Oak Ridge Behavioral Health Center, Ryan Solomon sat in a coffee shop 3 blocks from his office, reviewing case files on his laptop. To any observer, he appeared to be working. In reality, he was studying the names from that anonymous message: 7 children, 5 different cities, spanning the last 12 years. Wayne's pattern had been meticulous. He'd never targeted families in the same social circle, never struck the same city twice in quick succession. He'd used his security business as access, installing systems that gave him unlimited surveillance of his victims' homes. And he'd been smart enough to keep no physical evidence, no pattern that would alert authorities. But Ryan had something Wayne never anticipated: a forensic accountant's ability to find patterns in chaos. Each victim's family had hired Hastings Solutions for security installation. Each showed a spike in Wayne's personal travel expenses 3 to 4 months after installation. Each family had subsequently moved, selling their homes quickly, often at a loss, relocating to different states. They'd run. And Wayne had let them, knowing they had no proof, knowing their fear and shame would keep them silent. Ryan made a decision that would haunt him later. He began reaching out to these families. The first 2 didn't respond. The third, a family in Portland, sent back a single word: "Stop." The fourth changed everything. Marvin Booker answered Ryan's carefully worded email within an hour. They spoke on an encrypted line, 2 fathers connected by horror. "I installed cameras," Marvin said, his voice tight, "after I noticed my daughter acting different. But by the time I caught him..." A broken sound. "By the time I had evidence, it had been going on for 3 months. 3 months. And I didn't protect her." "It's not your fault," Ryan said quietly. "I reported him. Police said there wasn't enough evidence. His former colleagues, you understand? They buried it. We moved to Seattle, changed our names. My daughter, she's 15 now. Still in therapy. Still having nightmares. I have Wayne Hastings in a facility in Montana. Locked down, under observation. But I also have evidence of a broader operation. Your daughter, if she's willing to testify." "No." Marvin's response was immediate and final. "I won't put her through that. I won't make her relive it in front of strangers, lawyers, a courtroom. We've built a new life. I won't destroy it for revenge." Ryan understood. He'd have made the same choice. "Then help me another way. Send me everything you have, dates, documentation, anything Wayne touched. I'm building a case he can't escape from. What's the point if the victims won't testify?" "Because I'm not looking for a trial," Ryan said. "I'm looking to make sure he never hurts another child. Ever." Marvin was quiet for a long moment. "What are you planning?" "Something permanent." 3 weeks later, Ryan had compiled documentation from 4 families. Not enough for prosecution. Marvin had been right about that, but enough for something else. He drove to Montana, checking into a hotel under a false name. Oak Ridge Behavioral Health Center sat 30 miles outside the city limits, a fortress of glass and stone nestled in the mountains. Ryan had researched its layout, its protocols, its staff rotations. He'd also researched Dr. Catherine Pierce, the therapist who'd called him months ago. She had a pristine record, genuine dedication to rehabilitation. But she also had a weakness. She believed in redemption. Ryan scheduled a meeting under the guise of family participation in Wayne's treatment. Dr. Pierce welcomed him warmly, ushering him into a comfortable office with mountain views. "Mr. Solomon, I'm glad you reconsidered. Wayne has made remarkable progress." "I'm not here for reconciliation," Ryan interrupted. "I'm here to show you who you're really treating." He placed a folder on her desk. Inside were photographs, not of abuse, but of victims. 7 children at various ages, their faces carefully obscured, but their medical records visible. Therapy notes. Psychiatric evaluations. The documented aftermath of Wayne Hastings' predation. Dr. Pierce's face paled as she read. "These are just the ones I could find," Ryan said quietly. "How many others are there?" How many families too afraid to come forward, too ashamed to name what happened? Mr. Solomon, patient confidentiality prevents me from. I'm not asking you to betray your ethics. I'm asking you to see the full picture. Wayne Hastings isn't a patient who made a mistake. He's a serial predator who spent 12 years systematically abusing children. Your treatment might help him understand what he did, but it won't undo the damage. It won't protect the next victim. Dr. Pierce set down the file with shaking hands. What do you want from me? The truth. Is he really getting better? Or is he playing you the way he played everyone else in his life? She looked at him for a long time, then reached into her desk and pulled out a file. This violates every protocol I have, but... She pushed it toward him. These are notes from group therapy. Wayne participates, but he's calculating. He says the right things, shows appropriate remorse, but there's a distance to it. Like he's performing. Ryan read through the notes, his stomach sinking. Wayne was doing exactly what Ryan suspected, gaming the system, learning the language of recovery while plotting his next move. There's something else, Dr. Pierce said. Wayne has been corresponding with someone. Letters that bypass our usual screening because they're marked as legal correspondence. His attorney, supposedly. But the volume is unusual. How unusual? 3 letters a week. Our patients typically communicate with their lawyers once a month at most. Ryan felt ice in his veins. I need to see those letters. I can't. That's completely beyond. Please. Ryan met her eyes. If I'm right about what he's planning, more children are at risk. You became a therapist to help people. Help me stop him. Dr. Pierce wrestled with her conscience, then made a decision that would cost her license if discovered. She left the office for 10 minutes. When she returned, she carried photocopies. I never gave these to you, she said. And if anyone asks, you never saw me. Ryan spent that night in his hotel room decoding the letters. They were written in business language, discussing assets and portfolio management, but Ryan's trained eye recognized the code. Wayne was corresponding with his old blackmail victims, the ones who'd paid him protection money. He was reactivating his network, preparing for his release. The letters referenced resuming normal operations and addressing outstanding concerns. But there was something else. References to new opportunities and untapped markets. Wayne wasn't planning to retire quietly. He was planning to expand. Ryan photographed everything, encrypted the files, and sent them to a contact at the FBI. Special Agent Therese Richard, who'd worked with him on previous cases. Her response came within hours. Where did you get this? Anonymous source. Can you use it? Not in court. But it gives us probable cause to dig deeper. Stand by. Ryan returned home, telling Michelle he'd been on a business trip. It wasn't entirely a lie. This was business. The business of ensuring Wayne Hastings never walked free. 2 weeks later, FBI agents raided Wayne's former office and home. They found evidence Wayne had hidden before his psychiatric commitment, backup files of surveillance footage, encrypted drives containing compromat on dozens of powerful individuals, and something worse, correspondence with a network of men who shared Wayne's predilections. Wayne Hastings wasn't just a lone predator. He was part of an organized ring. The investigation exploded. Federal charges multiplied. Wayne's attorney turned out to be another member of the ring, using legal privilege to communicate freely. Ryan watched the news coverage with grim satisfaction. The facility in Montana would transfer Wayne to federal custody within days. His voluntary commitment would become a prison sentence that would last the rest of his natural life. But Ryan wasn't satisfied, because he'd learned something else in those letters, something that made his blood run cold. Wayne had been planning to come back for Charlotte. The letters referenced unfinished business and the one who got away. Wayne had been biding his time, playing the model patient, waiting for his release to resume what Ryan had interrupted. Ryan made a decision. He drove back to Montana. He arrived at Oak Ridge just as the FBI was preparing Wayne's transfer. Through careful timing and a fabricated emergency, a supposed threat against Wayne's life that required private consultation, Ryan arranged 5 minutes alone with his father-in-law. Wayne sat in an interview room, shackled and diminished. But his eyes still held that calculating gleam. Come to gloat? Wayne asked. Come to make sure you understand, Ryan said, pulling a chair to sit across from him. You're going to federal prison. Multiple counts, multiple victims. You'll die there. Maybe I'll cooperate, give them bigger fish, cut a deal. There is no deal that gets you out. But that's not why I'm here. Ryan leaned forward. I'm here to tell you that if you ever, and I mean ever, mention Charlotte's name, write her name, think about her in any way, I will make your time in prison exponentially worse. Wayne laughed. You think you have that kind of reach? You're nobody. I'm a forensic accountant with FBI connections who just brought down an entire child exploitation ring. I have reach you can't imagine. Ryan's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. I've already made arrangements. The other inmates in federal prison, they'll know exactly what you are. I'll make sure your crimes are public record, that your face is on every news site, that everyone knows what you did to children. You can't. I already have. Your transfer tomorrow? You'll be in general population. No protective custody. No special treatment. Just you and men who have daughters, granddaughters, nieces. Ryan smiled without warmth. You know what they do to predators in prison. Wayne's face drained of color. You're signing my death warrant. No. I'm giving you a choice. You stay silent about my family. You never speak our names. You never write about us. You accept whatever sentence comes. And I'll arrange for protective custody. You'll live. In isolation, yes. In a cage. But alive. And if I don't, then I let nature take its course. Guards look the other way. Inmates handle justice themselves. Your choice. Wayne stared at him, recognition dawning. You're just like me. Willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want. No, Ryan said, standing. I'm nothing like you. Because what I want is to protect children. What you wanted was to destroy them. That's the difference. He walked to the door, then paused. You have until tomorrow to decide. Protective custody or general population. Life or death. Choose wisely. Ryan left without looking back. The next day, Wayne Hastings signed a full confession to federal prosecutors. He named every member of the ring, provided evidence against dozens of powerful individuals, and accepted a plea deal, life in prison without parole, in protective custody. Ryan received the news via text from Agent Richard. He sang like a canary. The whole operation is coming down. You did good work. But Ryan felt no triumph. He felt only a deep exhaustion. That night, Charlotte asked him to read her a bedtime story. Ryan sat on her bed, the same bed Wayne had violated, and read about brave princesses and defeated dragons. Charlotte fell asleep before the end, her small hand clutching his. Michelle found him there an hour later, still holding their daughter's hand. It's over, she whispered. It's over, Ryan agreed. But he knew it wasn't. Not really. Because the anonymous messages continued. More names. More victims. More predators operating in shadows. Ryan couldn't save them all. He couldn't right every wrong. But he could do what he did best. Follow the money, find the patterns, build the cases. He kissed Charlotte's forehead and stood, carefully tucking her in. In his office, his computer waited. Files to review. Leads to chase. Monsters to expose. Wayne Hastings was behind bars. But he was just one monster among many. And Ryan Solomon had found his new mission. 3 years later, Ryan stood in the kitchen of their new house, a secure property with state-of-the-art systems he'd personally installed, watching Charlotte help Michelle decorate a birthday cake. His daughter was 10 now, bright and strong, showing no signs of the trauma that could have destroyed her. Therapy had helped. Michelle's unwavering support had helped. But mostly, Ryan thought, Charlotte's resilience had saved her. Some children survived horrors and became defined by them. Charlotte had survived and grown past it, becoming more than what had almost happened to her. Dad, you're going to be late, Charlotte said, pointing at the clock. Ryan checked his watch. She was right. He had a meeting in an hour, a consultation with a family in Arizona whose security system had been compromised. They'd contacted him specifically because of his reputation. Over the past 3 years, Ryan had quietly built a second career alongside his forensic accounting work. He consulted with families on security, yes, but his real focus was on identifying predators who used their access to target children. He'd developed a network, former FBI agents, cybersecurity experts, therapists who specialized in trauma. Together, they'd identified and stopped 17 individuals. Some faced legal consequences. Others faced different kinds of justice. Ryan didn't advertise his work. It spread through word of mouth, family to family, a quiet underground railroad of protection. His phone buzzed. A message from Marvin Booker, the father in Seattle who'd first agreed to help, found another one. Financial records show the same pattern. Can you look into it? Ryan replied. Send me everything you have. This was his life now. By day, he maintained his respectable career, attended Charlotte's school events, coached her soccer team. By night, he hunted monsters. Michelle knew. She'd wrestled with it at first, the moral ambiguity, the risks he took. But after meeting some of the families he'd helped, after seeing the children who'd been saved, she'd made her peace with it. "Just promise me," she'd said once, "that you'll never cross a line you can't come back from." Ryan had promised, but they both knew some lines were worth crossing to protect the innocent. His phone rang. Unknown number. Ryan answered cautiously. "Mr. Solomon?" A young woman's voice, nervous. "My name is Rosie Fritz. I'm Wayne Hastings' daughter." His other daughter. Ryan froze. He'd known Wayne had a daughter from a previous marriage, estranged for years. "How did you get this number?" "I've been following the case. The trials. What you did." She paused. "I need to meet with you. There's something you need to know about my father. Something that changes everything." What could possibly change? He wasn't working alone. The ring you exposed? It was just the bottom tier. There's another level, people with real power, and they're still operating. Her voice shook. They're planning something. Something big. And I think my father was protecting me by keeping me out of it. But now he's in prison, and they've contacted me. Ryan's mind raced. "Where are you?" "Phoenix. I can fly to you, or you can come here. But it needs to be soon. They think I have access to my father's files, the ones he kept as insurance. They're willing to pay, but you think they'll kill you once they have them?" "Yes." Ryan looked at Charlotte and Michelle, decorating the cake, laughing at some private joke. His family. His life. The normal existence he'd fought to preserve. But he thought of the 17 children he'd saved. The families he'd helped rebuild. The monsters he'd stopped. "I'll be on the next flight to Phoenix," he said. "Send me an address. Somewhere public. And Rosie? Don't trust anyone until I get there." He ended the call and turned to Michelle. She'd been listening, her expression a mixture of concern and resignation. "You have to go," she said. It wasn't a question. "I have to go." Charlotte looked up from the cake. "Business trip?" "Yes, sweetheart. Business trip. I'll be back in time for your party this weekend. I promise." He kissed them both, grabbed his go bag from the closet, the one he kept permanently packed for situations exactly like this, and headed for the door. Michelle caught his arm. "Be careful. And Ryan? Come home to us. Always." The flight to Phoenix gave him time to think. Wayne Hastings behind bars wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of something larger. A network that spanned states, maybe countries. People with money and power and the means to cover their tracks. Ryan pulled out his laptop and began compiling what he knew. The original investigation had exposed a ring of 15 individuals, but the network had clearly been larger. Wayne's blackmail operation had extended far beyond what they'd uncovered. And if Rosie was right about another tier, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mr. Solomon, I wouldn't recommend meeting with Rosie Fritz. She's not what she seems." Ryan stared at the message. Who else knew about his Phoenix trip? He'd told no one except Michelle. Another message. Wayne Hastings kept secrets even from his criminal associates. His daughter knows some of them. But she's also bait. They're using her to draw you out. Ryan typed, "Who is this?" "Someone who wants the same thing you do. To stop them. But you're walking into a trap. Then what do you suggest?" "Meet with Rosie. But be ready. I'll be watching." The conversation ended. Ryan sat back, analyzing the angles. Was the anonymous messenger legitimate? Or were they trying to scare him off from helping Rosie? Either way, he was committed now. Phoenix was hot and bright, the sun merciless even in late afternoon. Ryan took an Uber to the address Rosie had provided. A busy shopping center with multiple exits, good sight lines. Smart choice for a meet. Rosie Fritz sat at an outdoor cafe table, nursing an iced coffee. She was younger than Ryan expected, maybe 25, with Wayne's features softened into something almost delicate. She looked terrified. Ryan sat across from her. "You came alone?" "Yes." "You?" "Yes." Ryan scanned the crowd, looking for watchers. "Tell me everything." Rosie pulled out a tablet, bringing up encrypted files. "My father kept these as insurance. Triple encrypted, with a dead man's switch. If anything happened to him, they'd be released to authorities automatically. But he's in prison, not dead." "Exactly. So the switch hasn't triggered. But the files exist, and the people he was blackmailing know it. They think I can access them." "Can you?" "No. My father never trusted me with the encryption keys. But these people don't believe that. She showed him photos, surveillance images of herself, her apartment, her workplace. They've been watching me for months. 2 weeks ago, they approached me directly. Offered me money for the files. How much? $5 million. Ryan let out a low whistle. That's desperation money. What's in these files that's worth that much? I don't know specifics. But my father once told me he had evidence that could bring down governors, senators, even. She stopped, glancing around nervously. Even who? He claimed he had proof of a federal judge's involvement. Someone who'd been protecting the ring for years. Ryan's blood chilled. A federal judge would explain how so many cases had disappeared, how so many prosecutions had failed. It would explain everything. Did your father name the judge? No. He was too paranoid to tell me directly. But he left clues. Breadcrumbs, he called them. In case something happened to him. Show me. Rosie pulled up a document. One of Wayne's encrypted files she'd managed to partially decode. It contained dates, case numbers, and oblique references to the arbiter. Ryan recognized several of the case numbers. They were prosecutions that had mysteriously collapsed, evidence ruled inadmissible, defendants walking free despite overwhelming proof of guilt. The arbiter, Ryan muttered. A judge, obviously. But which one? That's what I've been trying to figure out. But I'm an art teacher, not an investigator. I'm out of my depth. Rosie met his eyes. They're going to kill me, aren't they? Not if I can help it. Movement caught Ryan's attention. A man in a dark suit, watching them from across the plaza. Then another, positioned near the parking lot exit. A third by the main entrance. We need to move, Ryan said quietly. Don't look, but we're being watched. 3 men, possibly more. Rosie's face went white. What do we do? Stay calm. We're going to walk to my rental car. Slowly, like nothing's wrong. Ryan stood, taking Rosie's arm. Give me the tablet. She handed it over, and Ryan slipped it into his bag. They walked toward the parking lot, Ryan's every sense on alert. The man near the exit began moving to intercept them. Ryan altered course, heading instead toward the main shopping center entrance. Where are we going? Rosie whispered. Inside. More witnesses. Harder for them to make a move. They entered the mall through the main entrance, immediately blending into the crowd. Ryan led them deeper into the building, using the crowd as cover, doubling back through stores to lose any tails. His phone buzzed. The anonymous messenger. North exit. White van. 5 minutes. Ryan had to make a split-second decision. Trust the mystery contact or go it alone. He chose trust. They made it to the north exit with a minute to spare. A white van pulled up, side door opening. Inside sat a woman Ryan recognized, Agent Therese Richard from the FBI. Get in, she said. Ryan and Rosie scrambled inside. The van pulled away immediately, merging into traffic. Agent Richard, Ryan said. You've been my anonymous contact? For the past 3 years, yes. Did you think the FBI wasn't monitoring your vigilante activities? She smiled without humor. We've been letting you operate because you get results. But this situation is beyond what you can handle alone. Who were those men? Private contractors. The same network we've been investigating. When Rosie's father went to prison, they started tying up loose ends. She's a loose end. Rosie looked stricken. So I was right. They're going to kill me. Not anymore. You're under federal protection as of right now. Agent Richard handed her a phone. This is encrypted. Use it to contact your family. Tell them you're safe. But don't tell them where you are. To Ryan, she said, we need your help. Rosie's father kept records that could expose the entire network, but they're encrypted beyond our ability to crack. We need someone who understands Wayne Hastings, who knows how he thinks. You want me to decrypt his files? Can you? Ryan thought of Wayne's methodical nature, his need for control, his paranoia. Maybe, but I'll need access to everything. His old computers, his correspondence, anything that might contain clues to his encryption method. Already arranged. We have a secure facility in Tucson. Everything we seized from his properties is there. And the judge? The arbiter? Agent Richard's expression darkened. That's where it gets complicated. If there really is a federal judge protecting this network, they'll be monitoring our investigation. One wrong move, and evidence disappears, witnesses die, and the entire case collapses. So what's the play? We decrypt the files quietly. We identify the judge. And then we take them down so hard, and so fast they can't cover their tracks. She looked at him intently. Are you in? Ryan thought of Charlotte's birthday party, of the promise he'd made to be home. But he also thought of all the children still at risk, all the families who'd never get justice if this network survived. I'm in, but I need to make a call first. Michelle answered on the second ring. Ryan explained the situation, leaving out the dangerous details. I'll be gone a few more days. Maybe a week. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just finish it. Michelle's voice was steady. And this so no other family has to go through what we did. I love you. I love you too. And Ryan? Charlotte wants to talk to you. His daughter's voice came on the line, bright and innocent. Hi, Dad. When are you coming home? Soon, sweetheart. I promise. I'm just helping some people who need it. Are they nice people? Ryan smiled. Very nice. They remind me of you. Okay. Come home safe, Dad. Love you. Love you too, Charlotte. He ended the call and turned to Agent Richard. Let's go to Tucson. The facility was an unmarked building on the outskirts of the city, surrounded by desert. Inside, it was all business, computers, evidence boxes, whiteboards covered in case notes. Agent Richard led Ryan to a room filled with Wayne's seized property. Computers, hard drives, file boxes, even personal items from his office. It's all here, she said. Every piece of digital and physical evidence we could find. But the most important files, the ones with the real proof, are encrypted with military-grade security. Our best tech people have been trying for 3 years. Nothing. Ryan sat down at the main computer, pulling up the encrypted files. Layers upon layers of security, each requiring different passwords, different decryption keys. But Ryan had something the FBI's tech experts didn't: personal knowledge of Wayne Hastings. He started with the obvious: birth dates, addresses, significant numbers from Wayne's life. All failed. Then he tried something different. He thought about what mattered most to Wayne. Not family. He'd proven family meant nothing. Not money. That was just a tool. What Wayne valued was power. Control. The ability to destroy lives. Ryan pulled up the case files of Wayne's first known victim, a child from 20 years ago. He tried the case number as a password. The first layer unlocked. I'm in, Ryan said quietly. Agent Richard leaned over his shoulder. How did you? Wayne's ego. He used his victim's case numbers as passwords. Each layer probably corresponds to a different victim. Ryan's stomach turned. This is his trophy collection. It took him 16 hours of continuous work, with only brief breaks, to crack all 9 layers of encryption. Each password was indeed a case number, each corresponding to a child Wayne had victimized. The final layer opened, revealing files that made Agent Richard go pale. Oh my God, she whispered. The files contained everything. Surveillance footage, financial records, communications between network members. But most damningly, they contained video of the arbiter, federal judge William Holland, personally attending gatherings where children were abused. We have him, Ryan said. We have all of them. The files revealed a network spanning 12 states, involving over 40 individuals. Judges, prosecutors, police chiefs, business leaders. All protected by Judge Holland, who'd systematically buried cases, intimidated witnesses, and destroyed evidence for 2 decades. This is going to be the biggest takedown in FBI history, Agent Richard said. But we have to move fast. Once we arrest Holland, he'll know we have evidence. His associates will scatter. Then we hit them all at once. Coordinate with field offices across all 12 states. Simultaneous raids. That'll take weeks to organize. Then we have weeks to make sure every detail is perfect. Because we only get one shot at this. Agent Richard made the call to her superiors. Ryan kept working, cataloging every piece of evidence, cross-referencing files, building an ironclad case against each network member. Rosie helped where she could, identifying people her father had mentioned, filling in gaps in the timeline. Despite everything, she seemed relieved. I've been carrying this weight for years, she said. Knowing my father was a monster, but not being able to stop him. At least this means something. Ryan understood that feeling. 6 weeks later, on a coordinated Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., FBI agents across 12 states executed simultaneous arrest warrants. 43 individuals were taken into custody. Judge William Holland was arrested in his chambers, still wearing his robes. The news coverage was immediate and explosive. The largest child exploitation network in U.S. history, brought down by evidence from one of its own members. Ryan watched the news from his office at home, Charlotte doing homework at his desk while Michelle prepared dinner. His daughter looked up, seeing the news coverage. "That's the bad people you were helping catch, isn't it?" she asked. Ryan had never explicitly told her about Wayne or the network, but Charlotte was smart. She'd pieced together enough over the years. "Yes," he said simply. "Did you stop them all?" "We stopped a lot of them. There might be more we haven't found yet, but we stopped the worst ones." Charlotte thought about this, then returned to her homework. "Good. People who hurt kids should go to jail forever." "I agree." That night, after Charlotte was asleep, Ryan and Michelle sat on their back porch, looking at the stars. "Is it really over?" Michelle asked. "This case is. But there will be others. There always are. And you'll keep doing this? Hunting monsters?" Ryan considered. "I don't know. Part of me wants to just focus on us, on Charlotte, on having a normal life. But you're good at it. And people need you." "Yeah." Michelle took his hand. "Then keep doing it. Just promise me you'll always come home." "I promise." His phone buzzed. A message from Agent Richard. New case. Missing children in Nevada. Pattern matches another network. Interested, Ryan looked at the message, then at Michelle. She squeezed his hand. "Go. Do what you do. We'll be here when you get back." Ryan replied to Agent Richard. "Send me the files." Because this was who he was now. Not just a forensic accountant. Not just a father and husband, but someone who stood between monsters and innocence. Wayne Hastings had created this version of Ryan Solomon. Harder, colder, more ruthless. But Ryan had chosen what to do with that transformation. He'd chosen to protect rather than destroy, to build cases rather than take vigilante justice. Most of the time, Charlotte was safe. Rosie Fritz was rebuilding her life under witness protection. 43 predators were behind bars. The network was broken. But Ryan knew others would rise to replace them. They always did. And when they did, he'd be ready. The stars overhead were bright and clear, indifferent to human suffering and human justice alike. But down here, in the darkness where monsters lurked, Ryan Solomon stood watch. And he always would. For Charlotte. For every child who needed someone to stand between them and the darkness. Always. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.